Why do we believe that a liar can't look you in the eye? We've been trained by movies and popular culture to look for the classic tells, the shifty eyes, the nervous fidgeting, the beads of sweat. But what if I told you that most of that is a myth? What if the most practiced liars have mastered their body language, turning it into a confident performance designed to deceive you? Where, then, does the truth hide? Today, we are going inside the box to explore the science of deception detection. We're not going to look at the body. We're going to look at the words. Because while a liar can control their posture, they cannot easily control the subconscious architecture of their own sentences. The act of lying leaves a trail of verbal breadcrumbs, and I'm going to show you how to find them. The central concept we'll be exploring is what deception experts call cognitive load. Telling the truth is easy. You are simply recalling a memory. It requires very little mental energy. Lying, on the other hand, is one of the most cognitively demanding things a human brain can do. The liar has to invent a false narrative, check it for internal consistency, check it against what you already know, deliver it convincingly, and manage their own stress, all at the same time. This intense mental effort causes the brain to take shortcuts, and those shortcuts show up in their language. Let's break down the science. When you are under a heavy cognitive load, the parts of your brain responsible for complex, nuanced language start to simplify. Your subconscious mind, which knows you are being deceptive, also tries to distance itself from the lie. Researchers in forensic linguistics and FBI interrogators have studied these patterns for decades. They have found that liars, regardless of culture or context, tend to fall into the same verbal traps. These aren't just theories. They are predictable patterns of human psychology. Now, let's synthesize this into a practical framework. I am going to give you 3 of the most reliable linguistic markers of deception. Think of this as your verbal forensics kit. First is the use of psychological distancing. When people tell the truth, they naturally place themselves at the center of the story. They use first-person pronouns like I, me, and my. For example, I drove to the office, and I worked on the report. But when someone is lying, their subconscious mind wants to create distance from the fabrication. You will hear a noticeable drop in the use of these pronouns. The sentence becomes, drove to the office and worked on the report. Or, it becomes even more passive and convoluted. The car was driven to the office, and the report was the project for the afternoon. It's a subtle but incredibly powerful signal that the person is subconsciously removing themselves from the event they are describing. Second is the overabundance of irrelevant detail. A person telling the truth has no need to convince you. Their memory is sufficient. A person telling a lie is deeply insecure about the credibility of their story, and they overcompensate by adding a flood of unnecessary details. If you ask a truthful person what they did last night, they will give you the highlights. I had dinner with a friend. A liar, however, feels the need to paint a hyper-realistic but ultimately fake picture. They'll say, well, I went to that Italian place on the corner of Elm and 3rd, and I was sitting at the second table from the window, and the waiter had a green apron on, and I ordered the lasagna. They believe this detail makes the story more believable, but to a trained ear, it's a massive red flag. It is the sign of a story that has been constructed and rehearsed, not recalled. Third is the use of formal language and non-contracted denials. This is a classic tell that FBI interrogators look for. When a person is telling the truth, they speak naturally. If you ask, did you take the money? A truthful person will almost always use a contraction. No, I didn't. It's fast, automatic, and direct. A liar, however, in an attempt to sound more forceful and convincing, will often use the full, formal denial. No, I did not take that money. It's a subconscious attempt to put extra emphasis on the lie to make it sound more credible. That small grammatical choice to not use a contraction is a huge signal that the brain is working overtime to appear truthful. These tools are not about turning you into a paranoid interrogator. They are about sharpening your perception. They are about learning to trust the subtle signals that the human brain cannot help but send out. when it is under the stress of deception. The next time you are listening to a story that feels off, I want you to stop looking for the shifty eyes. I want you to close your eyes and just listen. Listen for what is missing. Listen for what is added. And listen for how it is said. So, I have a reflective question for you. Think about a time you heard a story that just didn't feel right. In the comments, without any personal details, tell us what it was about the language that first made you suspicious. Let's see how many of these patterns we've all intuitively noticed. And if you want to continue sharpening your mind, subscribe for more journeys inside the box.